And we're back. Let's talk a little bit about lobbying, if we could. A lot of folks say, well, lobbyers that's a dirty word, but not necessarily. Help us understand how they help the chamber. Who wants to take that?
So the lobbying efforts of the chamber have kind of coincided with the one voice process that we spoke about earlier, and we have an agreed platform that we all agree to talk about with legislators, but we also have targeted fly-ins in DC, where we have 100 or so business owners and civic leaders that go to Washington, D.C. and visit with our legislative delegation about what's important to their businesses, what issues are germane at that moment. We do the same thing in Oklahoma City with...
Well, I started to say, what about the gang that can't shoot straight? Do we? What do we do with those folks?
We visit them quite frequently in Oklahoma City.
Good.
And we have a series of legislative luncheons and different programs where we have kind of mini fly-ins in Oklahoma City. And I would say that prior to One Voice and prior to us formalizing that advocacy strategy, we were really pretty ineffective. But it's like a relationship. You've got to get to know your legislators. They need to know what's important to you. And when we as a business community developed that relationship, the communication became much, much easier. And so I think if you asked a member of our federal delegation or a legislator in Oklahoma City whether they've heard of the One Voice agenda or whether it's meaningful, I think you would hear a resounding yes. I think it's a pretty effective tool.
I got to tell you, when I moved here in the mid-'80s, early 80s, there were Lamborghinis, Rolls Royce, Bentleys. I mean, folks were happy. But there was a feeling. There was a feeling in the city that things weren't as they should be, and then all of a sudden oil dropped. And the next thing I remember from the 80s were a series of farm foreclosures. Literally, farmers going through town, almost like out of the grapes of wrath, signs on the truck and the trailer that said lost the farm, you know, headed for greener pastures. And it seemed like almost immediately, our legislature began to work. They began to work together, which was heartening, with the unification theme of diversity. We need economic diversity. And everybody talked about it, but we didn't see much about it until just lately. Why has Oklahoma been so slow to really push for economic diversity?
You know, I think we're probably far more diverse than most people realize. You know, there's such a heavy focus on the energy industry, and of course we have some giants of the energy industry that are headquartered in both Oklahoma City and Tulsa. But then when you look at the aerospace industry, we also have some just really, really impressive public and private corporations that are headquartered right here in Tulsa. You've got the American Airlines maintenance base, you've got NORDAM, Spirit Airlines, and you've got a variety of smaller manufacturers in Tulsa and throughout the entire region that funnel in and make products that help support that aerospace industry. Then you can look outside of just those two industries and you look at our manufacturing industry, you look at transportation, distribution, and logistics. We have 2 ports. I think that's something that a lot of people don't realize unless you're right next to them. We have the Port of Catoosa and the Port of Muskogee, so that really provides us some tremendous logistics advantages and ends up getting us a lot of transportation and distribution related businesses locating here in the region.
It would seem though that we need more tech, high stream tech work here.
Yeah.
And you know, there's no way to ask you this question without jeopardizing what you're all working on. But is there any possibility that we're going to see that change, that we'll see more high tech groups look to Tulsa?
Yeah, so I can talk about, we did work a tech company project earlier this year. It didn't ultimately land here. It was something that we were very disappointed in. I think something that we have to work on in order to land tech companies is really workforce development, especially when you're talking with existing businesses, but especially with new businesses. They really want to have the confidence that if they move here, they're going to have the labor pipeline to make them successful.
You know what? It would seem to me, and bless your hearts, I don't mean any disrespect here, but it would seem to me that your job is doubly hard, because one of the first things anybody's going to look at is what's your education system like? How does the state support education? What's going on? And Oklahoma has a reputation for slash and burn when it comes to education. How do you say, look, we're working on it, and convince outside business to come here?
One of the things that I'm also privileged to be a part of, I'm the current chairperson of the Regional University System Board of Regents. And I completely concur with you in terms of the importance of common education and higher education relative to economic development. It's one of the first things that comes up when a company looks at a region to assess the health of that region and whether it's a place that they would want to locate or expand their business. I'll also tell you that I'm incredibly encouraged by the quality of the educational product that we're delivering in Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. Yes, it's going to be an atrocious budget cycle coming up, but we have a tremendous advantage with 25 state-supported universities, colleges and universities in the state of Oklahoma that are conferring degrees and educating our future workforce at a rate that is very, very reasonable. So you're delivering a quality education product at a very, very affordable price, which makes Oklahoma very, very attractive for businesses. So you kind of see a weakness, I kind of see a strength, and I think with continued support from the legislature and certain philanthropists in the state,
there's the key.
It can be a very, very big competitive advantage for us.
Phil, quick question, because we're running out of time. How important is that the support from various philanthropists out there?
You know, you can't underscore the importance that philanthropy brings, not just to education, but to business development and community development here in northeastern Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. The Chamber's been a leader in establishing a relevancy for place in northeastern Oklahoma. Our career tech system, it's a symphony of opportunities available here that are not available other places.
Mm-hmm. And yet, and again, we're down to seconds here, but we have so many men and women who quietly stand back, watch, see a need, write a check. They don't want any attention, they just want to help. And we're talking serious money here, you know, more than $1.98. Thank you, kids, for coming in and for taking time. Would you come back and do it again?
Absolutely.
I'd
yeah.
like to, when you've got something.
Yeah, hopefully in the next couple of months we'll have something to announce.
Give me a yell.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
Thanks to all three of you.
Thank you very much.
We're grateful. That's all of the time I do believe we have for this edition. Am I right about that? All right. I'm Sam Jones. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you back here next time.